All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal morning. What's up, guys? This is Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to take their brands to the next level. Of course, I'm your host, Junior Frederick, and I have with me the man himself, Mr. Bobby Stealth. And today, we're going to be getting back into the free E's. So, how do you convert the free E's into the free I's? So number one, thank you for joining us today. We're starting a little bit late because we had a slight tech challenge on the back end. But thank you so much. If you tuned in live, put a number one. Of course, let us know where you're listening in from. Bobby, what's up?
Not much, Junior. Not much at all, brother. I'm feeling very aware. That's an interesting word, aware, because like when you have business, you got all these different things. So I was teaching last night, one of my coaching cohorts, and one of my clients said something that I really enjoyed. They said, "It's all starting to make sense now. I can see it all working together." And as a coach, that's a really, really good feeling because that lets you know that you're bringing it together. You're helping them see the big picture. So I feel very aware this morning, very excited to help people get more clarity on how to actually transition those three E's into the three I's, much like we did last night with another phenomenal client that started to see some things connecting for herself.
100%. I want to send a quick shout out to Dr. Michelle D. Clark. Shout out to you. By the way, Dr. Michelle, I did see your post. Hope you get well very, very soon. Guys, we follow you guys as well. I'm looking at everything. I see Bradley's in the market. Bradley is turning up the market, posting every day. I see you, Bradley. Tia, shout out to you and everybody else that is looking. So guys, we're gonna get right into it, Bobby. Let's waste no time. Let's get into it. How do you convert the free E's into the free I's? For those of us who are just tuning in, what are the free E's? So write this down. The free E's equals your experience, your education, and your expertise in any order, by the way. So education, experience, expertise, education. It really doesn't matter. Okay. So those are the three E's. And what are the three I's? The three I's stand for your income, your independence, and of course your impact. So Bobby, where we stopped yesterday is we spoke or we went over the three E's. So what are the three E's? And then we started making the transition into the three I's. So what I want to share this morning is just a little bit more insight from my experience, having launched several brands at this point. How do you actually convert that? So guys, there's a secret formula for how you convert that. Okay, so write this down. Everybody write down secret formula. Bobby, as I'm saying that, what comes to mind is how many of you remember SpongeBob? Remember in SpongeBob there's this character called Mr. Krabs. Mr. Krabs had, what did he have, Bobby? You should know this, right?
Krabby Patty something. I didn't watch too much of it, but it's some kind of formula. He had something.
He had some kind of formula. He had the Krabby Patty formula. This is not the Krabby Patty formula. This is the how do you launch your brand to 6 and 7 figures formula. So check this out. So if you're a professional, meaning you've been in your space for 10, 15, 20, some people 30 years, and you're looking to finally transition into your own business, you're looking to step up as a leader, you're looking to turn that education, that experience, and of course that expertise into more money, more independence, and of course more impact. Here's what you need to know. Number one, you already have the product. So write down product. Now, chances are, in fact, it's not even chances. We know for a fact, Bobby, that if people have been in jobs for over 10, 15 years, you have to be solving some kind of problem. Otherwise, you wouldn't be there. So you're solving a problem and you're already delivering on a solution. Now, the formula, the branded like a leader formula, is literally you taking that solution that you already provide, that you already put out into the market, and you packaging it. In fact, not even packaging it, you loading it. So how many of you know what I mean when I say loading something? What visual do you come to mind? When I say load, I'm thinking of a thumb drive. Like you load something into a computer. You're loading your education, your experience, and your expertise into an already proven system that can go from literally from like one of my people would say, Coach Shard, from mud hut to millions, from mud hut to millions, from bland to industry leading brand. So here's the thing: business is very simple. Business is about customer attraction, customer retention, customer ascension, service fulfillment. That's it. You can already fulfill on the service. Now what you need to do is take that product, right, Bobby? Create a system to attract leads, to attract clients, service those clients, and just collect the money. It's literally that simple. Now, where the branding comes into play is the branding helps you be the interface. So instead of the company being the interface between you and the market, you now or your company now becomes the interface between you and the market. And as Sean would say, I'll pass this over to Bobby. As Sean would say, if you're in an organization and you're making, let's say, $100,000, you're literally delivering 10 times that value to the company. That's probably what you're like. If you're making them 100K, you're probably bringing the company $1 million. If they pay you 50K, you're probably bringing in about $500,000 to the company. That's like the monetary value of either what you bring in or what you help keep. That's pretty much what it is. So if you remove the company, or if you yourself become the company, if you become the brand, okay, the brand is only one part of the company, by the way. The attraction piece, you can keep a larger percentage of that money for yourself. And that's literally it. So let's start there. What are your thoughts on that, Bobby? As far as converting the free E's into the free I's, let's talk about the importance of branding and how the brand is the interface between the customer and also the market.
What I like about brands are that they cover so many things at one time. So if you've read the book Wolf, The Way of the Wolf, it was written by the individual. I think his name was Jordan Belfort. He was the guy that
Yep.
they made the Wolf of Wall Street after. So he wrote a book after he got out of prison or while he was in prison, whichever order it happened. He was like, I took some skills, I used them the wrong way, and now I'm trying to use them the right way. And he wrote a book. And the book is called The Way of the Wolf. And he talks about something called the three tens. And the three tens are three things that your prospect needs to be at a 10 on in order for you to have a very good likelihood of closing them. So he knows that you're not going to close everybody. He knows that some people just aren't going to buy. But he's like, if you can get your prospect to a 10 on these three things, you have a really, really good chance of closing them. So the three things are the prospect needs to be a 10 on the product. Like they need to believe that the product will solve their problem. The degree to which they believe that the product is the right solution is a 10. Like the higher they believe, the closer they are to a 10. The second thing was the salesperson. They need to trust you as a person, you as an individual. And if they trust you, they like you, they know who you are, they are like, oh, he's a good guy, she's a good girl, then you got a really good chance. You got a really good chance. But you also have to cover that third one. And that third one is company. They have to trust the company. And this is one that a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with. Business owners and entrepreneurs are two different people, by the way. Business owners have a business. They've been around. They are established in their market and in their vertical in many cases. Entrepreneurs have an idea that they are trying to validate in the marketplace with the transaction of cash for services or cash for products. Like you're a very different entity. You're a very different beast. You are trying to launch. You need to get out there. You need to explode. You need to put the world on notice because nobody knows you. So the interesting thing about entrepreneurs is they struggle to get a 10 in the company space because all they have is an LLC. Nobody knows them. All they if you ask them when they started their company, they could probably tell you in the last 12 months, in the last 24 months. How much money have you made in your company? Less than six figures. So the company aspect is very hard for them to get a 10 in. And that's what I love about the brand. Because when you brand you and not what you do, what you actually are doing is you're hijacking. You're hijacking the responsibility of your company to be known and solvent and you impressive, and you're pretty much putting all of that responsibility on the brand. So if you think about Elon Musk, he does this. So when he built Tesla, nobody believed that electronic cars would do anything. Like Tesla lost money. I think Tesla's still losing money. I do not believe Tesla is a profitable company right now. I'd have to double check. But I know for a fact that they lost money so aggressively that they almost had to shut Tesla down. Like they were going bankrupt. But some way, somehow, people kept paying them. Why? They kept paying them because of the name, because of Elon Musk, because of the brand, because they believe that this guy, given enough time and sufficient resources, is the man that could pull it off. So, what I love about the brand's importance in transitioning the three E's to the three I's is that if you have education, experience, and expertise, your company can be as new as a newborn baby, but you're not. You've been in the industry for 10 plus years. You got two, three, 4 degrees. You've got all kinds of experiences that you can leverage, that you can build a brand around that can support your company in its early stages. So, as we really make this next transition, I want to talk a little bit about how your brand can be launched. Because if you launch your brand, you actually do something that a lot of people don't think about. You gain traction fast. So, in most cases, you have a business and you're trying to figure out how to get it to work. Now, that's just a broad way of saying something more technical. The more technical thing that entrepreneurs are trying to figure out that they don't know they're trying to figure out is you're trying to get traction. So traction has to do with the attraction, the attention, retention, and delivery. All of those things go into the traction component. But what traction really means in a business is that you have prospects that are converting into clients and you have a methodology for servicing that business. You have leads that are converting into clients and you have a methodology for servicing that business. That's what we call traction in business, like in entrepreneurship. A company that does not have traction doesn't have one of those three things or all of those three things. So if you have leads but they're not converting, we would say you don't have traction. If you have leads and they're converting but you're struggling to service the product, then you don't have traction. If you have a phenomenal product, all the skills in the world to service them, but you don't have leads, you don't have it. If you have a conversion mechanism like a landing page, a website, and all these different things, and the ability to service them if they come in, but you don't have leads to convert, you don't have traction. So the biggest thing when it comes to launching a brand is what you do is you say, I've got education, experience, expertise, and I need traction. And in order to get traction fast, I need leads, I need a conversion mechanism, and I need the capacity to deliver my service. So when you launch a brand properly, you should be getting your social media organized. You should be getting your website designed to convert leads into clients with electric sales copy. And then you should have a methodology for servicing these new customers that's going to allow you to maintain a realistic capacity. So, what I mean by maintain a realistic capacity, I mean monthly recurring revenue. So if you're not able to achieve monthly recurring revenue after your brand launch, that means something in your brand launch wasn't done properly. Either the website wasn't strategically developed, either the message to market fit is off, you don't have a solid ideal client profile, so you're not attracting the ideal client. Like those are the reasons many entrepreneurs get off the ground and then find themselves back on the ground or try to get off the ground and just find themselves flapping but not taking flight. So that's my perspective on it, Junior, from taking those three E's to the three I's and really what role the brand plays in all of that.
Yeah. So I love the fact that you spoke about lead generation. So everybody write this down. So the four core functions of a business. So, four core functions of a business. So, number one, now we're talking about business, we're talking about branding. Number one is lead generation. So, that's literally number one. No leads, no business. If you, if, and this is even for brick and mortar. If you have a brick and mortar store and nobody's coming through the door, you have no business. So, if you have an online business, an online store, whether it's e-commerce, whether it is coaching, consulting, you have a knowledge-based business. If you have no leads, no business. No leads, no business. So the core function number one is lead generation. That's core function number one. Number two is lead nurture. So how are you nurturing the leads that come in? So lead comes in through, let's say, lead magnet. Okay. Maybe you give away a white paper, you give away a free book, you give away, a free coaching session, consult, etc., etc. When you get that email address, when you get that phone number, what do you do? That's the next part. Like, what do you really do? And that's where you have stuff like email marketing. And Bobby, here's another tip. A thing that I've realized is that, putting out content. So putting out content on social media is a form of lead nurture. Okay, because it also nurtures your current clients. So many of our current clients, they come and they watch the free content. So people believe that free content is only for like new customers or like new leads. No, your current customers are nurtured through your free content, just like this show, right? Like this morning, right? we
Mm-hmm.
have we have clients that are viewing the show and they view it every day. So lead nurture is the core function number two. Number three is sales. So after you nurture those leads, how are you going to make the sale? So what would be your primary conversion mechanism? So conversion mechanism for sales. So you have your lead attraction mechanism, which aka your lead magnet. What are you going to do to attract the lead? How are you going to nurture the lead? Will it be through content? Will it be through, email marketing? Will it be through social media? Will it be through text? What would it be? How are you going to nurture those leads? And by the way, we like talking about like, only online businesses. If you run a brick and mortar business, then there's also lead nurture there as well. Like sending your customers postcards, gift cards, stuff in the mail. All of that stuff is form of lead nurture as well. So how will you nurture your leads? What is your strategy for nurturing your leads? Number three, how will you sell them? So what will your sales process be? And then finally, the product fulfillment. So how will you fulfill on the service that you sell? So do you need to create a product fulfillment sequence? Is there supposed to be an email sequence, an automation sequence, some sort of stuff that's going out to really and truly give people what they pay for? These are like the core functions of any business. Now the branding, where the branding comes in, the branding solves, in fact, Bobby doesn't only solve one problem, it solves multiple problems. Number one, it solves lead generation. I think even Grant Cardone said that in his business, it was all about marketing, but what really made his marketing work was his brand. Now he's one that's very aggressive. Like if you're on any email list, Grant Cardone probably sends you like 10 emails a day. Most people will just unsubscribe. But what he said was that the only thing that make his marketing works is his brand. He has a great brand. Okay, 10x. So lead generation. So the branding helps to solve lead generation. Now lead nurture, it also helps to solve lead nurture. Now there are just some people, when I see emails come from them, I always open the email, Bobby. I always open and read it. Even if I don't read it thoroughly, but I'm opening to see because I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to have something go by on me. I like literally yesterday, there was this huge webinar yesterday. I think over 50,000 entrepreneurs tried to join that webinar. I tried to join and I couldn't get in. I'm like, oh man, I missed it. I missed it. So I was literally looking at my email and I'm trying to make sure that I can get on this webinar because they're talking about, the AI revolution, how businesses could integrate AI and, how you could really and truly add AI to your business to really and truly go to the next level. And also the dangers of not implementing AI in your business. Like we all know about Blockbuster, Netflix. We know about Bobby. Did you know Kodak? You know Kodak, right? Well, they used to be the camera company.
Yep.
Bro, did you know that Kodak was the first set of company, sorry, to have like digital cameras?
Mhm.
Like not like the we used to snap and have the thing come out. I'm talking about like the cameras we use on our phones. So the question was asked, well, why didn't you implement it? You know what they said? They said they thought if they implemented it, it would put them out of business.
Mhm.
And what ended up happening? We don't even talk about Kodak anymore.
That's right.
They should have been a multi-billion-dollar company that was selling technology to phone companies so that phone companies could use their digital photography stuff. They didn't innovate, they didn't adapt. And there are so many other companies, billion-dollar companies that have gone out of business because they didn't adapt. So this is just like a not a warning, but just like a wake up. Wake up, smell the roses, look at where the market is going, and see how you can position yourself there. Number one is branding. So the market is all about branding. The market is definitely going towards brand. If you don't have a brand in the next 5, 10 years, nobody's gonna buy from you.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna be able to sell. But moving on,
I
the
agree.
branding also helps with sales. There are some people, if I get on a call with one of their salespeople, I just buy. I don't even need the salesperson on the call. The salesperson is a distraction from me getting to the product. I've
Yeah.
already made a decision to buy. Sales guys talking too much. Just give me what I want. Here's the card. Let's go. I've already made the decision because I know the entrepreneur and I trust that what they're telling me is the right thing to do. I've gotten on the phone with certain people, Bobby, and I've already told them, like, bro, don't try to sell me. I'm already in. I just need to make sure that this is exactly what I'm looking for, or if I need to add something else. That's by the way, that's the kind of buyer you want to be because that's the kind of buyer you want in your business. I'm the kind of buyer you want. If I come to your business, you don't have to try to hard sell me. Just tell me what it is, tell me the price. I'll tell you, okay, Bradley, let's go. Okay, Dr. Michelle, let's go. Do I need to get anything else? Is this enough? Like, am I buying the right thing? Is this exactly what I need? Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, boom, here's the card, let's go. I don't need no explanation, nothing like that. Okay, so branding helps to solve that. And then, of course, the product fulfillment. One thing I noticed, Bobby, is that most like huge companies in our space, they're not perfect when it comes to systems. I bought something recently, funny enough, from another popular person, and the system it didn't come the way it was supposed to come. Like I didn't get links on time. I missed part of the webinar because they sent it to me late. Then they didn't send me the right link. So stuff like that does happen with companies that are like 100 million, like multi nine-figure businesses that you think would have all of their systems like in a line. Sometimes they're still a little bit shaky on the back end, but I had more patience with that person because I know that like that little mess up is not a reflection of the influencer, it's not a reflection of the owner, it's not a reflection of the brand, it's a reflection of the team. And I know sometimes teams take time to get stuff right. So I had more patience on the customer or the product fulfillment. And I didn't try to, like give me my money back. I said, okay, let's give them a couple hours or whatever to sort out this stuff because I know that this guy, like what he represents, what he stands for, is not a reflection of the situation that's happening here. So the product fulfillment end is also sort of taken care of when you have a strong brand as well. Now, guys, with that being said, we're going to go to a quick break. This is going to be our first break for the day. But when we come back, we're going to get more into this. Of course, if you have any questions, put your questions in the chat. When we get back, we'll be addressing them. Stay tuned. This is Breakfast with the Brand. Let's go.
There's slow growth and then there's scale. There's incremental growth and then there's exponential growth. What I want to talk to you about is adding a zero to you and experiencing exponential scale. Incremental growth says 1 plus 1 is 2. Exponential growth says 1 plus 0 is 10. Incremental growth says 2 plus 2 is 4. Exponential growth says 5 plus 0 is 50. Guys, listen, when you add a 0 to you, You can add a zero to the marketplace. You can add a zero to the value that you bring. So you can add a zero to your family, add a zero to your legacy. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about incremental, we're talking about exponential. I always say that business is a spiritual game. Just imagine when you combine your skills, your values, your abilities, your talents to something bigger than you, something greater than you, something like the power of exponential. That is adding a zero. Add a zero to your competence, add a zero to your confidence. This is about adding a zero in your life, your value, your industry, and your mission. Let's grow. So when you're young, mommy tells you to play nice. Play nice, Timmy. Let all of the other kids play too. But in business, it's not about playing nice. In business, it's about winning. It's about adding multiple zeros to your revenue. Now, of course, your staff wins. And when you win, other people win. However, when it comes to competition, you absolutely must dominate. You can't play for participation, and you can't play just to get along or just to get by, because business is serious. Business will help you to change the world, or the world will change you. Your people will either win or your people will lose based on your level of leadership, what you're willing to do, what you're willing to sacrifice, and how much you know about dominating. Confidence is key. Most of the people I work with, they have the education, the experience, and the expertise. We call those the 3 E's. But they're looking for the 3 I's, the income, the impact, and the independence. And I always tell them that the bridge between the 3 E's and the 3 I's is marrying your confidence to your competence. Most of the people I work with, again, have all of the competence in the world. What I help them do is get the confidence.
All right, guys, welcome back. Welcome back. We're talking about how to change the 3 E's into the 3 I's. That is how to take your education, your experience, and your expertise and transform that into impact, independence, and of course, income. So, Bobby, let's get back into it. We sort of spoke about the 4 core functions of a business before the break. Let's go into some of your thoughts on those functions. We spoke about the brand helping with lead generation, lead nurture, sales. Let's go back to the sales for a little while because that has been your experience for quite some time now. So tell us about the branding and the relationship to sales.
You know, when I did 400% revenue growth the first year, it was surprising. When I did it the second year, it was interesting. When I did it the third year, it was a system. It was a system. So branding was a part of that system. If you're going to do massive amounts of revenue generation, you're going to have a brand, because the brand helps you do the retention, ascension, and attraction. It hits on all 3 of those. So one of my experiences with generating massive amounts of revenue through sales is that you want to make sure that you're able to attract a higher quality client every year. I'm about to give you guys my secret. I'm about to give you my secret. How do you do 400% revenue growth every year? Well, it's not because I produced 400% more work, like 400% more service. I didn't do that. What I did was I increased my value proposition by 400%. And then I increased my ideal client by 400%. And I increased my brand by 400%. And then I kept doing what I had been doing. So what does this look like in your business? So let's say you had your first product was $250 and you sold that on a monthly subscription and they were coming into your program. To many people, that's a low ticket offer. It really is. It's about $3,000 a month. I mean, $3,000 for a year for a coaching program. It's not very high ticket, but let's say that's where you started. Now, assume that same program, after 1 year, you refined it, you made it better, you worked on yourself, you worked on the culture, and you said, this program is no longer worth $3,000. It's worth $12,000. And now you said, in order to get into this program, same program, just a different level of expertise, a different degree of confidence based on your increased competence, means that you're actually going to increase the price. So when you increase the price, you say, hey, everybody that was paying $250 a month that got massive value and want to stay here, the new price is $1,000. Now, everybody that doesn't want to pay that amount or don't feel like the value is there, because here's the thing. When you do business right and you're branding properly, you should be giving more in use value than you take in cash value. So one of the things that Shaan is known for is people coming to like a webinar, coming to a free challenge and making money. Like, we're known for that. Like, people come all the time, get some instruction from a 2 or 3 day challenge, go execute it in the marketplace, and they come back and say, I made $10,000. That's not unheard of here. So the reason I share that with you is because that's a part of his brand. That's a part of the brand. The brand is, if you trust me, I will make you money guaranteed. I'll help you add a zero to your revenue. Just trust what I tell you. Like, that's a part of the brand. So when you come back to your brand, your business, and you just think about this basically mathematically, it's like, okay, it was $250 month to month. I've increased my competence. I've increased my confidence. So I'm increasing my price. And everybody that did what I said should have got massive value. And if you want to continue getting massive value and continue getting results, then you're going to have to pay the new price. So what makes this a very easy no-brainer is, let's say I paid $250 a month, but after following you for 90 days, I made $5,000. That means I made my entire investment in 90 days and some in less than the 12-month period that I was investing. So what does this mean? Well, this means if I increase the price and you as an instructor and your business as a brand only got better at doing what you do best, that means that giving you an additional $750 is a no-brainer. Because if history repeats itself in 90 days, I'm going to have a $12,000 return of some kind, and I'm still going to make out like a bandit before the end of the year. So that's one secret. So one secret is, when you're getting into branding and you do it right, like when you launch a brand, you can do this. But if you try to do this without a brand, it's not going to work. And the reason it's not going to work is because you don't have what's known as a lock-in mechanism. So a lock-in mechanism is one of the 9 components of a business model. So I don't want to go too far here, but I want to give you guys some real genuine insights to maximizing revenue and how to leverage that brand properly when you're going from your 3 E's to your 3 I's. So pay very close attention to what I'm about to say. The brand does the customer lock-in. The customer lock-in is what creates the they call it the barrier to change, or the cost to change. So imagine if you were doing business with Comcast, which is an old cable company. Let's say they were doing your internet, and then you decided to do business with actually, I'm going to use telephone companies because those are easier. A lot more people know them. So let's say T-Mobile versus Verizon. That's easier. So let's say you've got T-Mobile and you've got Verizon. Now, both of these companies do the same thing. But customer lock-in means that this company has locked you into a contractual agreement with a series of perks that make switching from them more costly. So what do you see when these two companies are competing with each other? You'll see Verizon say something like this: if you have a T-Mobile contract, we'll buy out your contract, give you a free phone, and add 2 lines for the price of 1. What they're doing is they're trying to overcome the brand lock-in that they have over here. So if T-Mobile has been doing business with you for 5 years and you've been upgrading your phones and they've been got your phone number, everybody knows your phone number, all of those things are a part of the brand and they're part of the customer lock-in. Because to change from that business to this business means you have to change your phone number, you have to change the interface that you're used to, you have to change the customer service that you're used to, and you have to learn something new. And humans and purchasers, as creatures of habit, don't like new. And we definitely like what we like. So, in what you're really doing when you're increasing revenue and you're maximizing revenue with the same customers, you're building a brand that locks them into an experience that delivers to them an expectation that says, no matter how much you increase the price within reason, I will stay with you because the cost of going somewhere else is more expensive than the cost that you have increased on the price. Without going deep, now we're really talking about a concept known as market surplus, but that's economics, and we're not going to get into that. But the reason we do it this way, guys, and the reason the brand is so important is because when you do this right and you get in the marketplace effectively with a low ticket offer or with your initial offer, and you launch with a brand and you transition the 3 E's to the 3 I's properly, the income, impact, and independence is directly linked to the brand's development. Because as the brand develops, your income goes up, your impact is enhanced, and your independence is more, it's more obvious. Because if I have a brand, that means I can do what Junior talked about. I can hire salespeople that don't have to be that great because the brand is great. The salesperson just has to take the payment and get out the way. So it creates independence by making you not have to do all the work, by making you not have to do all the sales. A brand is one of the best ways to scale trust. You can scale trust with a brand because you have salespeople that are representing the brand, so they trust the brand, not the salesman. You've got a company, and then you've got a product, and they trust the product, the company, and the salesperson simply because they trust the brand. So to tie my bow on sales and branding, I would say when you do this right, the leads that you generate should increase. Like the quality of lead should increase as the brand increases. The lead nurture should become easier as the brand gets better. You guys have seen Shaan go from background to background to background to background. Guess what's happening? As the brand is developing and the backgrounds are changing and becoming more and more sophisticated, the lead nurture sequence is being impacted positively because the brand is increasing, which makes the trust increase. Very subtle, but very important. Sales conversion mechanism, we talked about that a little bit already. And then product fulfillment. As the brand increases, the product fulfillment should get easier because you have more automated things that people trust, such as courses and various other courses because of the brand's strength. So phenomenal question, Junior. I hope I didn't take you guys too deep there.
Bobby, we're about to go to a final break. But before we go, something you said reminds me of something I heard. So when you spoke about increasing prices, now you're in economics, but I'm not sure if you're familiar with the medallion fund. Are you familiar with the medallion fund? So
Probably.
the medallion fund was like a it's like this fund for investors. So they take your money, it's like a hedge fund. They take your money and then they invest it in the market. So the medallion fund was one of the first hedge funds to implement the use of AI. And this
Okay.
was back in the 1980s.
Yeah.
This was back in the 1980s. Now, the kinds of returns that they used to get, Bobby, was astronomical. We're talking about 20%, 30%, 40%
Yeah.
year after year after year. It got so good that at some point they stopped taking investor money. So they took all the investors, they sent them their money back. They check this out. They sent them their money back, and they said to them, the only money that we're taking are people that were former employees of Medallion and current employees of Medallion. And the fees were 44%. In other words, if I invest 100,000, if I make you $100,000, I want 44,000 out of the 100,000 that I make you. But people continue to pay because the average return was about 39%, meaning you make 39 cents on every dollar that you invest with me, guaranteed. And that's average, Bobby. You have people making a lot more than that.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? Now, for those of us who are not, investor savvy, S&P 500 is like 10%. You have
On
a
a
company making you on a good year, 10%. You have a company making you like 40% and charging you 44%. Now, how does this relate to what we're talking about? The brand was so good that they started to raise their fees. So they didn't start at 44%. They started like 20%, then they raised it to like 30, then 35, then 40, then finally 44%. So they raised their fees year after year after year after year until they basically almost took half of them of investor money. Now that's astronomical in fees, but investors still paid it because the value of what they got was unbeaten literally anywhere else. So what I'm saying is if you have a brand that can deliver high amounts of value, like more value than anybody in your space, people will pay you whatever you ask them. Because as much as you ask them, as high as your fees are, the value is even higher than what they would get with a cheaper or less expensive alternative. So that's just something to think about. Now, guys, we'll be right back after this quick break. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. We'll address them once we come back. But stay locked in. We'll be right back after 1 minute.
The difference between sales and closing, I get this all of the time, guys. Closing is elegant. Closing is luxurious. Closing is the most profitable. Sales, high pressure tactics. No one associates car sales, right? The sleazy sales tactics with closing, because closing is elegant. Closing is excellent. You have to be a professional in order to close deals. Listen, when you do this the right way, when you learn what we're going to teach you in here, your clients will be trying to close you, and they won't let you close them for low numbers. So you'll be able to heighten, increase your profitability, increase your visibility, increase your reach, and increase your impact in the marketplace, and be confident and comfortable charging higher prices than you ever thought possible to the right people who can actually pay for them and then say thank you for closing them.
All right, guys, so we're back. And literally, what I was just talking about is literally what Shaan just said. So you can charge higher prices, and the right people will pay you for closing them. Now, I've actually had that experience, Bobby, where people have thanked me for closing them because check this out. Like, why do you need a salesperson? I was discussing with our sales team just yesterday. Like, there are four levels of salespeople. Number one is an order taker. You don't want to be an order taker. An order taker is like when you go to like a Starbucks and they ask you what you want and they just punch in the numbers. Like, these are not really, these are like the base level of salespeople. If you're an order taker, it means that you're not convincing the prospect to do anything. You're just taking an order. And when they say no, you say no problem, and that's it. You don't try to close them. Number two is a salesperson. Salesperson, they can sell, but when it comes to the close, they're just not quite there. So they can take the prospect 70% of the road, but the other 30%, they require either a manager or they require some kind of assistance to really and truly go the extra mile or go the full 100% and close, that deal. Number three is a closer. So a closer is what we all talk about. Closer is what everybody wants to be. A closer is somebody who can close the deal. Okay. Number four is a trusted advisor. So when you become a trusted advisor, you've sort of superseded a closer. You don't have to try to close people. People just do what you tell them to do because they trust you, because you have a brand that is so strong that they believe you, they trust you, and they know that you have their best interests at heart. What you want to be, you want to become a trusted advisor. You want to transition to a closer, trusted advisor. When you become a trusted advisor, that's when you start to make the big money, because you tell people or you recommend the right solutions for people, and people will thank you because you've helped them solve a problem. And that's sort of where you want to be. Now, Bobby, as we sort of go into the last minutes of today's show, I want to leave the floor open for you just in case there's anything else you want to say on this particular subject.
Yeah.
Um, just go for it, man. Is there anything you want to leave the crowd with when it comes to the free ease and turning that into the free eyes?
Absolutely. If you guys have been watching us for any amount of time and you are a little bit skeptical, maybe a little bit curious, maybe you just like, sounds good, but I've heard this all before. Heard this all before. I want you to just ask yourself a very simple question. A few simple questions. Do I have cash to spend right now? Like in your bank account, in your savings account, on credit card, like just think, ask yourself this question. Do I have money right now that I could spend? Okay. All right. Second question that I want you to ask yourself is, why am I not spending that money on growing my business? Maybe you are spending some money. That's good. That's great. But if you still have some money that's just sitting there, just not doing nothing with it, ask yourself, why aren't you using it? It's the second question I want you to ask yourself. The third question that I want you to ask yourself is, what can I do with this money that is sitting that will be more valuable than it just sitting? That's what I would leave you guys with. Because I get on phones in the sales space all the time. And one of the biggest things that I end up educating prospects on and educating individuals on is that money sitting is unforgiving. Write that down. Money sitting is unforgiving because time is passing, inflation is rising. And if you're not putting these dollars to work for you, they're working against you. I'm not telling you to go buy a $50,000 program. I'm not telling you to go buy a $20,000 car. What I'm telling you is, if you watch us and you follow us and you know your brand could use some work, you know that your business could use some work, you don't even have to do business with us. Like, I'm not saying this is not a sales call. I'm telling you, don't let that money sit, especially if you know that there's work that could be done. Money sitting is unforgiving. It's not making you any money right now. But what you heard today, if you take some action or you get in touch with us, we can put $100 to use. We could put $250 to use. We could put $6K to use. We could put $150K to use. But you gotta be educated on what it is you can do with that kind of money. And that's what I would leave with you guys, because I'm in finance. A lot of people don't like to talk about money. I love talking about money. I went to college to talk about money. So if you feel any type of way, ouch, because money is the thing that you need to be very comfortable with if you're going to make it in business. But if you're like, you know what, he's right, reach out to me, reach out to Junior, reach out to somebody on our team, and we'll talk to you about what you can do to keep that money moving, because money follows movement. Those are my last remarks.
Yes, sir. My last remarks will be, guys, think about the future. Bobby, as of lately, I felt an excitement about what's going on. There's a lot of uncertainty. So right now, the way I sort of see like the world and everything, like picture you have like this puzzle piece, like you have this puzzle like on a table, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everything's just sort of sitting on a table, and it's like waiting for you to put it together. Like one exercise one of my mentors had me do a couple years ago was I had to buy a puzzle. I had to literally buy a 100-piece puzzle. I dump it on the table, and here's the key, Bobby. I toss away the box. So I never I never looked at the picture that was actually on the puzzle. I didn't get a chance to look at the picture on the puzzle box. So I bought the puzzle, dump it on the table, dump all the pieces on the table, and I throw away the box. The exercise was to help me, or it was meant to help me use my mind to solve problems. So right now, if you're in entrepreneurship, you're sort of like looking at this huge puzzle piece going on in the market, wondering what should I do. You have AI over here, you have crypto over here, you have coaching over here, you have influencers over here, you have YouTube, you have TikTok, you have, X, you have this one, you have that one, and you're sort of like looking at this puzzle piece on the table. The way you solve the puzzle without having the picture is one piece at a time. That's it. So I would advocate to every single person, look to the future, try to paint that mental picture, try to find your space. So Dr. Michelle, for example, you're all about helping breast cancer survivors live free, inspired, and transformed. What does the future of that look like? How can you integrate AI with that? How can you enter new markets, take advantage of technology, and position your brand so when people get there in the future, they arrive and they find you there? And same thing for every single person. Now, with that being said, guys, have a phenomenal day. Tomorrow we'll be back. I suspect in the coming days we'll be talking a lot about AI. We'll be talking about a lot about where the market is going and what you can do with your brand to start to position yourselves so that when the world comes around, okay, when the world travels that journey, they find you at the end waiting for them with your solution. Have a phenomenal day. This has been Breakfast with the Brand. Let's grow. Take care. Bye bye.